Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in and I hope you guys enjoy the content that I've been providing for you. Sorry it's been kind of hit or miss lately. I can film this stuff. It's the editing, even though I do it pretty simple and just do it on my phone. Man, by the time I get back to the house and play with the kids and do all that, I really don't care to do any editing. So I apologize for that, but I know you guys have been wanting some of this content. So Waratah 622B Logrite system. Thank you to Waratah customer support, the factory, the guys up in Kelso. They were wonderful. They able to bounce ideas off of. They're really good guys to, as far as like when you run into a problem or something that might be kind of weird or irregular and things like that. So that's all they do is Waratah stuff, so they're pretty knowledgeable about it. But what we ended up doing on this one's seen a bad alternator. It's seen lots of electrical issues. It's had a fairly hard life. I think it's 23,000 hours. Something like that is what this machine has on it. So it's got quite a few hours on a processor. But the main complaint for the last 2 years has been a length and diameter calibration issue. We've really struggled with it in the last 2 months actually, probably the last 2 months. I've put an alternator on it. We figured that part out. We were seeing some voltage irregularities. We were seeing the isolators up in the box, they went bad. The seal for the box that holds head module, it was bad. A lot of things. I've just been kind of progressively taking and getting better, and we've made progress every time. This time we had saw out problems, some different things we had. We ended up, the screen was mirrored, the red screen, which means saw out, but both saw proxies were home. Saw proxies out, black screen, drive arms clamped, things like that. So we had a bunch of just computer glitching, really hard to troubleshoot. And a couple months ago with a length problem, I ended up putting a test module in it, a head module. I have one that rides around the truck with me. It's seeing the end of its day. I think it's actually probably this last round, it probably wiped it out. So what we ended up doing is we got a new top saw proc switch, got put in it by the operator last week, and still had a saw out issue in it. The saw proc switch for the main saw was switched. These 622s, hopefully you guys can see that, 622s, you can take the harvester proc switch and you can use it for a temporary situation, but you need to make sure you pull it out, inspect. Obviously you're going to put it in the saw home spot, but make sure it's not damaged. Make sure your cables are off of there. If you're not using the harvester settings for saw out, so that basically the saw only goes out so far per diameter of the log. If you're not using those, take those cables out, take them off the head module, and just get them out of the head altogether. They will cause you problems. In fact, we were talking to Waratah about that this morning. And that's something that I do on a regular basis, is I just take those out. So, new saw proc switch. The old one, the little LED light. Let's see if I can show you here. There is that little LED. You can see it just below the zip tie. So it lights up whenever you got power to it, and it is registering steel. So you can test it by just plugging it in the cable, sticking it on the head, pulling it off, sticking it on the head. Look on your monitor, make sure it's changed up there. Here's the crazy part. This one lit up, wasn't changing the head. So we tried a different one, which is down here, in here. I took it, tried the other one. Same thing, couldn't get it. So we ended up changing head modules, changed like I said, we did the cab module. And then we ended up with a cab module, the rebuilds on the Logrites now. Ended up with a flashing screen. I will try and put a screenshot. I took a picture of how far we went to verify that, talking with one of the guys, talking with Mike at Waratah. He told me to start unplugging all the plugs on the cab module, and I did that, and it was saying that the screen was bad. So I went clear to figuring out what in the screen, and basically I went all the way in to see where the LCD was, and it's a power unit for the LCD was too much for the cab module I got from Waratah, from their rebuild center. So basically we had ordered another cab module because I was pretty sure it was actually in the cab module. The one we took out, the screen didn't do that. So I didn't think it was the screen's actual issue. Had to verify it, tore the screen all the way down. Got that. Put a second new cab module in, and now we were able to get our calibration set, all of that stuff. Between a new head module, cab module, we now are hitting our 20 and 40 foot lengths on the money. So we're within half an inch on 15 logs, 20 logs, something like that. So, but here's something I was going to show you. So it took about an hour to get this intermittent saw problem, and in that hour the cable, so this cable tested out just fine. I tested it half a dozen times in the last 3 days here. So that's this right here, and I put the new cable on it and just on the outside testing, and the new cable didn't change any of the things in the cab module and the head module. So that's where we were having computer issues. Like I said, this has been a tough one. But the intermittent saw out problem, after an hour of running, the plastic in this, which is now, it's cooled down enough, is rigid enough that it was actually holding. But if I warm it up, you can't see this boot right here flexing. When it's warm, you'll see it move and flex. And this little LED light down here. So this is a new proc switch also. Like I said, the old proc switch was registering the light, but still wasn't doing anything. We ended up with a bad proc switch, shorting out, things like that. So ultimately we've narrowed down a whole lot of stuff, and we've gotten better and better. And I just ran for an hour without a problem, and at the end of that 1 hour it was hot enough, and when I reached up in here, everything was just warm. So we're going to put a new cable on it, and then we're going to go to processing wood. So this is something that we overlook sometimes. And again, don't be afraid to double check your own work, triple check your own work. But heat will cause some things, and so if you don't know how to run a machine, you better make sure you got an operator here with you and stick around long enough. Don't just take off when it runs great. You're like, yeah, sweet, we got calibrations, we're good to go, and down the road you go, and the operator's up here 2 hours from town, no cell signal, takes an hour, and it's right at about an hour for me to get cell signal. And an hour for me, I'm down there in cell signal, 2 hours, I'm home. He runs an hour to get there. That's 2 hours, right? I'm at home. He calls me back up here. You can waste a lot of time driving back and forth to town when you can just stick around, hang out for a while. So those are things, little tips for you. This little problem, check out the Heavy Wrench on Instagram. Just the other day, he had a problem. Same thing. Backup alarm. I forget what it was. It was a tractor of some kind, front end loader, whatever. But he could squeeze a plastic box, and the backup alarm would go off, and then you let it go. You watch on his multimeter, squeeze it, voltage, no voltage, voltage, no voltage. And so again, when you get into some of this stuff, it just takes a little bit of time and patience, and just stick with it, because they're tough for all of us sometimes. So I'm gonna put the cable in, and then we're gonna run it some more, verify it, yeah, try and get out of here tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the videos. You guys know the drill. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified, and comment. Man, I love the comments. I love hearing your guys' feedback. Any tips, tricks from you guys, anything you guys want to see. All right, guys, you know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe, ring the bell. We're going to keep trying to bring you some content, some updates, and be safe out there. As always, God bless.